You become the words you whisper to yourself in the dark long before the world ever hears your voice. I know what it feels like to wake up some mornings and already feel behind, to question your worth before your feet even touch the floor, to smile at the world while fighting storms inside your own mind. But let me tell you something straight from my heart. The world isn't your greatest critic. You are. And the day you learn to speak to yourself with truth, with love, with faith, that's the day your entire life begins to shift. So today, let's talk about the power that lives inside your own voice, the voice no one hears but you, the voice that can build you or break you. And I want to give you 7 lessons that change the way I speak to myself and the way I walk through this world. For the longest time, I believed the world determined how high I could go. I believed success depended on timing, on luck, on the right opportunity, the right face, the right room. But the older I got, the more I lived, the more I fell and rose and fell again, the more I learned something far quieter, something far more powerful. Your life doesn't begin with the world's approval. It begins with the words you speak to yourself when nobody is watching. It begins in the private conversations that happen behind your eyes, the ones nobody else hears, but the ones that shape everything. Because here's the truth. Most people never realize you cannot fly with a voice that keeps clipping your own wings. There were days I woke up already defeated, not because anything bad had happened, but because of the thoughts that greeted me before sunrise. You're not good enough. You're not ready. Someone else deserves this more. I carried those sentences like heavy stones tied to my ankles. And no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I planned, my spirit felt grounded. I wasn't lacking ability. I wasn't lacking opportunity. I was lacking belief. And belief is built from language. Always. When you tell yourself you are small, you move small. When you tell yourself you are unworthy, you seek relationships and careers that match that belief. When you tell yourself you cannot, your body obeys. But when you begin, even quietly, even shyly, to whisper words of strength, something begins to shift. When you say, I'm learning, your mind opens. When you say, I'm trying, your heart softens. When you say, I'm growing, even if you don't fully believe it yet, your spirit begins to stretch its wings. Words aren't sounds, they're seeds, and the seeds you plant grow into the life you live. Think about this. If a child came to you trembling and unsure, would you tell them, you're not enough? No, you'd lift their chin, you'd encourage them, you'd show them their own potential, you'd help them stand taller. But somehow, when it comes to ourselves, we forget to offer that same kindness. We speak to our own souls like enemies instead of allies. We speak with judgment instead of compassion. And then we wonder why we feel heavy, unseen, unmotivated, unworthy. Your inner voice is like a lifelong companion. You are stuck with it in moments of silence, in nights of fear, in mornings of doubt. So why not make it a companion that strengthens you instead of destroying you? I want you to think of the moments in your life when you felt proud, capable, powerful. Maybe it was finishing something difficult. Maybe it was surviving a heartbreak. Maybe it was walking into a room that intimidated you. In those moments, whether you knew it or not, your inner voice was on your side. It whispered, just try. It whispered, you can handle this. It whispered, keep going. And because of that whisper, your steps grew steadier. That's the power you're rediscovering now. The world will not always be kind. People will not always support you. Circumstances will not always align in your favor. But if you learn to speak to yourself with truth and love, you create wings that no one can cut. You rise even in storms. You rise even in silence. You rise even when no one believes in you yet. And let me tell you something deeply personal. The most powerful shift in my life didn't come from an achievement or a big moment. It came the day I stopped calling myself not enough. It came the day I stopped shrinking. It came the day I stopped apologizing for taking up space. It came the day I changed my words. Because once I changed my words, I changed my posture. Once I changed my posture, I changed my decisions. And once I changed my decisions, my entire destiny began to move. So let this be your beginning. Speak to yourself as if you're speaking to someone you love. Because you deserve tenderness, you deserve patience, you deserve belief. Your wings are waiting, and they are shaped by the sentences you choose today. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize they've become harsher on themselves than anyone else ever has. Maybe it happens after a mistake. Maybe after a heartbreak. Maybe after one of those seasons where everything feels like it's falling apart. And slowly, quietly, without noticing, you begin to turn on yourself. You replay every misstep, every flaw, every flawed decision, every closed door, and you turn your life into a courtroom where you are the defendant and the judge and the jury all at once. And that burden, it becomes unbearable. But here's the truth you need to hear with every part of your being. You are not meant to be your own judge. You are meant to be your own witness. A judge condemns, a witness observes. A judge punishes, a witness learns. A judge stands above you, a witness stands with you. And most of us don't need more judgment. We need more compassion. We need more understanding. We need the softness of truth, not the sharpness of shame. When I look back at the hardest seasons of my life, I realize something powerful. The moments that broke me didn't break me because they were painful. They broke me because of what I told myself about the pain. I told myself I should have known better. I told myself I should have done more. I told myself I shouldn't have trusted, shouldn't have tried, shouldn't have hoped. And with every harsh sentence, I dug myself deeper into a pit of self-blame. But life is not a courtroom. Life is a classroom. And you will never grow if all you do is punish yourself for not being perfect. Being a witness means looking honestly at yourself without hatred. It means saying, yes, I made mistakes and I also survived them. It means acknowledging, yes, I fell, but look how I got back up. It means understanding that every scar you carry is proof that healing happened, not that you failed. A witness doesn't excuse your behavior. A witness understands it. A witness doesn't ignore your flaws. A witness sees them in context. A witness doesn't say you're terrible. A witness says you're human. And sometimes that one shift from judgment to witnessing is what saves your spirit from collapsing. Think about the moments when you've looked at a friend going through something painful. You didn't judge them, you didn't shame them, you didn't call them weak, you didn't say, why didn't you see this coming? No, you listened, you understood, you comforted them, you reminded them of who they really are, you offered them a safe place to breathe again. Why is it so hard to offer yourself that same grace? Maybe because deep down you believe you have to earn kindness. You believe you have to be perfect to deserve understanding. But the truth is, you deserve compassion simply because you exist. God didn't create you to survive your life by beating yourself down. He created you to learn from your life, to grow through what you go through, to expand into the person He already knows you can be. And learning requires witnessing, not judging. There will be moments when you look at your reflection and all you see is everything you could have been, everything you should have done, everything you lost. But I want you to stop and look again. Look closer, look deeper. Look with the eyes of someone who knows you intimately, someone who knows your battles, your fears, your dreams, your attempts. Someone who knows the nights you cried and still got up in the morning. Someone who knows the courage it took just to keep going. That person deserves understanding, not punishment. Start saying to yourself, I'm growing, I'm trying, I'm learning from this. This moment does not define me. Because the moment you shift from judgment to witnessing, your entire relationship with yourself changes. Your shoulders soften, your breath deepens, your heart opens. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to feel safe within your own skin again, and from that safety, courage is born. You don't need to be perfect to deserve love. You don't need to have all the answers to deserve peace. You don't need to erase your past to create a beautiful future. You just need to tell yourself the truth, not the judgmental truth, but the compassionate truth. I'm doing the best I can with who I am and what I've lived, and that is enough. More than enough. There is a moment, usually quiet, usually unexpected, when fear rises inside you like a wave. It could be before a big opportunity, after a painful loss, in the middle of a dream you don't feel ready for, or even in the silence of the night when your thoughts grow louder than your courage. And in that moment, fear feels enormous. It feels wild. It feels like a giant standing in front of your path saying, you're not going anywhere. We are taught to fight fear like it's a monster, something ugly, something dangerous, something we must overpower. And that sounds heroic, right? Fight it, crush it, destroy it. But the truth is, fear isn't a monster, it's a child. A frightened, trembling, confused little child inside you who doesn't know what's safe and what's not. A child who doesn't have the right words, so it screams. A child who doesn't know the future, so it imagines the worst. A child who isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you, but in the only way it knows how. And when a child cries, you don't yell back. You kneel, you soften, you listen, you say, I know you're scared, I know you're trying to warn me, but we're okay, I'm here, I've got this. That gentle tone, that compassion changes everything. I learned something powerful. Fear only grows into a monster when you ignore it or try to silence it. But when you talk to it, when you acknowledge it, when you understand it, it shrinks. Let me tell you about a moment that taught me this lesson deeply. I was standing in front of an opportunity that felt bigger than anything I had ever known. My head said, go for it. But my heart was pounding so loudly, it drowned out every logical thought. I felt fear climb up my spine, whispering all the ways I could fail, all the possibilities that could go wrong, all the ways I wasn't enough. I didn't fight it. I didn't run from it. I didn't pretend I was fearless. I sat with it. I breathed with it. And I talked to it like I would talk to a scared little girl. I hear you. I know you want to protect me. But growth is safe, trying is safe, becoming is safe, we are going anyway. And something shifted, not outside me, but inside me. My fear didn't disappear. It just changed shape. It calmed. It softened. It followed. Instead of leading. That's the thing most people never understand about courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move with fear, but not under its control. Imagine holding a child's hand. Imagine that child trembling, unsure, overwhelmed. You don't drag them forward. You guide them gently. You say, look, I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you. And slowly, they begin to trust the path. Slowly, they stop crying. Slowly, they take steps with you. That's how your fear deserves to be treated. Because fear isn't bad. Fear is instinct. Fear is sensitivity. Fear is the part of you that feels deeply. Fear is the reminder that you're stepping into something meaningful. If you weren't afraid, it probably wouldn't matter to you. The key is not to let fear drive your life. Fear can ride in the car. Fear just can't hold the steering wheel. When you talk to your fear like a child, you do something incredible. You take back authority. You say, I'm the adult here. I'm the leader of this life. You can have feelings, but I make the decisions. And that tone, that calm, steady tone is what gives you back your power. Because fear doesn't respond to force. Fear responds to reassurance. And reassurance comes from truth, the truth that you've survived everything you thought would break you, the truth that you've handled more than you give yourself credit for, the truth that God does not lead you to places you are not equipped to grow through, the truth that every great story begins with a shaking voice and a brave first step. So the next time fear rises inside you, and it will because fear is part of being human, don't try to kill it. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to outrun it. Just sit with it, breathe with it, talk to it gently. Say, I know you're scared, I know you're loud, but I'm stronger than you. Think, and we're moving forward anyway. And then take the step, even if your voice trembles, even if your hands shake, even if your heart races, because every time you move with fear instead of running from it, you teach your inner child one powerful truth. We are safe, we are capable, we can do hard things, and that is how courage is born. There's something fascinating about the human mind. It listens to everything you say, but it doesn't believe everything right away. It observes, it waits, it studies your patterns, it pays attention to the sentences you repeat. Not the ones you say once in a moment of inspiration, not the ones you whisper only on good days, not the ones you force out when you're trying to feel strong. No. Your mind believes the words you say consistently, the ones you practice, the ones you return to again and again, the ones that echo in your inner world long after the world has gone quiet. We often think transformation comes from a sudden burst of motivation, a big speech, a powerful quote, a huge moment of clarity. But those moments, beautiful as they are, don't create lasting change. They spark it, but they don't sustain it. Because change is not a spark, change is a rhythm. The mind is like a muscle. It grows through repetition. It strengthens through consistency. It adapts to the patterns you feed it. That's why the most important work you'll ever do is not shouting powerful affirmations once. It's whispering truth to yourself every single day until it becomes your instinct. Let me tell you something you may not know. Your old self, the version of you that lived in fear, doubt, insecurity, and survival, that version of you had years, maybe decades of practice. You repeated certain beliefs so often that they became automatic. I'm not enough. I don't deserve this. I always mess things up. No one sees me. No one chooses me. You didn't say those things once. You said them repeatedly. You said them in moments of disappointment. You said them when you compared yourself to others. You said them when someone broke your heart. You said them when life felt heavy. And with each repetition, your mind treated those sentences like instructions. It learned them, memorized them, built its identity around them. So why do we expect one moment of motivation to undo a lifetime of repetition? It doesn't work that way. You don't erase old programming with a single breath, you overwrite it, sentence by sentence, day by day, repetition by repetition. I remember when I first realized this truth, I was standing in front of a mirror, exhausted, drained, overwhelmed by life. And I tried saying something positive to myself. I said it boldly, confidently, almost like I was performing strength rather than feeling it. But the moment the words left my mouth, another voice, the familiar one, whispered, "That's not true." And for a while I believed the whisper. I thought, well, if the positive words don't feel real, why bother? But that whisper wasn't the truth. It was just the older repetition, the one I had taught myself for so long. So the next day I tried again, and the day after that, and the day after that. At first, it felt awkward, forced, almost mechanical, but slowly something began to shift, not in the world around me, but in the world within me. The sentences that once felt foreign began to feel familiar, the words that felt artificial began to feel comforting, and the beliefs that felt impossible slowly became my new normal. That's the power of repetition. If you tell yourself every day, "I'm growing," your mind begins to look for proof. If you tell yourself, "I'm worthy," your heart begins to open in places it once closed. If you tell yourself, "I can handle this," your body begins to move with more courage. If you tell yourself, "I am guided," your spirit begins to feel supported even in uncertainty. It doesn't matter how small the sentence is, it matters how often you say it. This is why faith works. Faith is repetition, prayer is repetition, hope is repetition, growth is repetition. Not because God needs to hear it repeatedly. You do. Your mind needs steady reminders. Your heart needs consistent reassurance. Your soul needs daily nourishment. The sentences you repeat become the beliefs you live in. Think about it like training. You don't build strength by lifting something heavy once. You build strength by showing up again and again, by practicing, by repeating the movement until your body remembers it. Your mind works the same way. The world may inspire you, but only your repetition will transform you. The world may motivate you, but only your rituals will sustain you. The world may spark something inside you, but only daily truth will turn that spark into a flame. So choose your sentences carefully. Write them on your mirror. Say them out loud. Say them in private. Say them when you're tired. Say them when you're hurting. Say them when you don't believe them yet, because one day, and this is the miracle of repetition, the words you once forced will become the words you live by. And in that moment you will realize your transformation was never sudden, it was practiced, it was earned, it was repeated into reality. There is a quiet moment, often in the middle of scrolling or rushing or chasing, when comparison sneaks into your heart like a shadow. It doesn't come loudly, it doesn't announce itself, it just whispers, "Look at them, look at what they have, look how far ahead they are, look how perfect their life looks." And suddenly, without even realizing it, you begin shrinking inside your own skin. Comparison is subtle, but it is powerful. It steals joy from your victories. It steals gratitude from your blessings. It steals energy from your journey. And worst of all, it steals the voice inside you that wants to create, because comparison isn't just envy. Comparison is a thief of energy. It drains your spirit until all you have left is exhaustion, insecurity, and a storyline that says, "I'm behind." But here's the truth that changed my life. You are not behind. You are on your path. and your path is divine. You cannot hear your purpose when you're drowning in someone else's timeline. You cannot see your blessings when you're too busy measuring someone else's. You cannot create something authentic when you're constantly comparing your beginnings to someone else's highlight reel. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. The world will always offer you someone who seems more successful, more beautiful, more talented, more ahead. The world has an endless supply of comparisons, but you only have one life, one purpose, one soul, one calling, and if you waste your voice trying to match someone else's rhythm, you'll never discover the melody that was meant to come through you. I remember seasons in my life where comparison felt like a heavy weight sitting on my chest. I would see someone achieving something amazing, and instead of feeling inspired, I would feel inadequate. I would feel invisible. I would feel like I wasn't doing enough. And instead of creating, instead of pouring my energy into my own lane, I froze. I stopped. I doubted myself. And in that silence, in that heartbreak, I learned something powerful. Comparison didn't steal my potential. It stole my presence. It stole my ability to see what was right in front of me. My own gifts, my own story, my own path. Your journey is like a seed. It grows underground long before anyone sees a single leaf. It takes time, nurturing, faith, patience, and silence. And while someone else may already look like a tall tree, that doesn't mean your roots aren't being strengthened right now. Just because someone else's chapter is unfolding beautifully doesn't mean yours won't. Stories don't lose value because someone else's story started earlier. Comparison tells you you're not enough, but creation tells you you're becoming. When you shift your focus from comparing to creating, everything changes. Your energy changes, your posture changes, your confidence changes. Instead of chasing someone else's approval, you start following your own vision. Instead of questioning your worth, you start strengthening your gifts. Instead of rushing, you start building. And here's the miracle of it all. Your creativity, your ideas, your talents, your voice, your dreams only flourish when you're focused inward, not outward. When you're connected to your soul, not the scoreboard. The world does not need another version of someone else. The world needs the version of you that only you can bring. So how do you silence comparison? You don't fight it aggressively. You don't shame yourself for feeling it. You don't pretend you're above it. You acknowledge the feeling gently and then ask yourself, is this comparison helping me grow, or is it distracting me from who I'm becoming? Most of the time it's distraction. And the antidote to distraction is creation. Create something, create a plan, create a moment for yourself, create progress, even small progress, create stillness, create faith, create the next step forward. Because creation reconnects you to your power. Creation brings you back into your lane. Creation silences the noise and amplifies the truth. Your timeline is perfect for you. Your gifts were chosen for you. Your calling has space only for you. And when you stop comparing, you will hear something you haven't heard in a long time. Your own inner voice, steady and wise, whispering, this is who you are, this is where you're meant to go, and this is how you shine. There comes a point in life when you realize there is only so much your strength can do. Only so much your determination can carry. Only so much your mind can convince itself of. And it's in those moments when you've reached the end of your own power that you discover something deeper, something quieter, something sacred. You discover that words without faith are like seeds without soil. They sit there full of potential, but they don't take root. They don't grow. They don't transform you the way they're meant to. That's why you must pray over your words. I don't mean religion in a rigid, rule-bound way. I mean the simple, powerful act of grounding your words in something greater than fear. When you speak, let your words be guided by intention, by gratitude, by humility, by hope. Let them be carried by God's strength, not just your own. Because when your words are rooted in faith, they stop being just affirmations. They become declarations. They become agreements with the future you are stepping into. There were times in my life when I tried to do everything by myself. I tried to push harder, think harder, force myself to be stronger. And on the outside, it looked like strength. But on the inside, I was exhausted. Because true strength doesn't come from controlling everything. True strength comes from surrender. It comes from saying, I can do my part, but God, I need you to do the rest. And that surrender infuses your words with a new kind of power. When you pray over your words, you're not just speaking to yourself. You're inviting heaven into the conversation. You're saying, let these words guide me. Let these words teach me. Let these words align me with the path you have for me. You're asking for clarity, for peace, for direction. And when your words are blessed with that intention, something shifts. Your spirit stands taller, your heart opens wider, your steps feel steadier. This is why people who are rooted in faith walk differently, they speak differently, they rise differently, not because life is easier for them, but because they are anchored. There is a steadiness in their voice, even when they're afraid. There is a quiet confidence, even when nothing is certain, and that confidence isn't arrogance, it's trust. There was a moment in my life when I felt overwhelmed by everything I was expected to be. The pressure was loud, the doubts were louder, and in one of those nights where sleep felt impossible, I put my hand over my heart and whispered a simple prayer. Give me words that lift me. Give me words that strengthen me. Give me words that guide me and help me believe them. That prayer didn't solve everything in one night, but it softened me. It reminded me I wasn't alone. It reminded me that the voice inside me didn't have to carry the weight of the world. It just had to stay connected to the one who created the world. Praying over your words is an act of alignment. It realigns you with your purpose. It realigns you with gratitude. It realigns you with clarity. It realigns you with truth. Because fear speaks loudly, ego speaks loudly, insecurity speaks loudly, but faith speaks softly, yet its power is unmatched. When you pray over your words, you begin to choose differently. You choose kindness over criticism. You choose hope over doubt. You choose patience over pressure. You choose forgiveness over blame. You choose purpose over panic. Your words become less about proving something and more about becoming something. And life feels different when you speak from that place. You breathe easier. You trust more. You stop fighting every moment and start flowing with the journey. You start noticing blessings you used to overlook. You become grateful for things that once frustrated you. You begin to feel held, supported, guided, because your words carry weight, they carry energy, they carry intention. But words mixed with faith, those words carry destiny, they carry courage, they carry healing, they carry light. So before you speak to yourself, pause, take a breath, place your hand over your heart and say something simple like, let my words guide me, not harm me. Let my words reflect the truth you see in me. Let my words create the future I'm meant to walk into. And slowly, beautifully, you will begin to notice something shifting inside you. Your tone softens. Your self-talk becomes gentler. You find strength even on weak days. You find clarity even in chaos. You find peace even in uncertainty. Because words rooted in faith don't just motivate you. They transform you. They lift you from the inside out. They call you back to who you truly are. And who you truly are is stronger, braver, and more guided than you know. There is a version of you that the world has not met yet. A version shaped by everything you've survived, everything you've learned, every heartbreak that taught you resilience, every failure that taught you humility, every miracle that taught you hope. That version of you, the person you're becoming, is wiser, calmer, bolder, more grounded, and far more capable than the version of you who lived in fear and doubt for so long. But here's the problem. Most people talk to themselves like they're still the old version. They speak from their wounds, not their wisdom. They speak from their past, not their potential. They speak from their fears, not their future. And when you do that, when you use the language of who you used to be, you keep yourself stuck in old rooms that no longer fit you. You keep your identity anchored to places you've already outgrown. You keep your spirit tied to stories that were meant to end a long time ago. Growth doesn't happen because you want it. Growth happens because you speak it. You practice it, you believe it, and you move like it's already true. There was a season in my life when I kept replaying old mistakes in my mind. I would speak to myself as if I was still that scared, uncertain version of me who didn't know where she belonged. I carried guilt from old choices. I carried shame from moments where I wasn't my best. I carried fear from years when I doubted my own worth. And those old stories, those old layers, they wrapped around me like chains. Even when life was offering me new opportunities, new beginnings, new blessings, I somehow kept shrinking back into who I used to be. One day, in the middle of feeling overwhelmed by my own thoughts, a simple realization hit me. I wasn't talking to myself like the person I was becoming. I was talking to myself like the person I used to be. The old me was unsure, but the new me was growing. The old me doubted, but the new me prayed. The old me hesitated, but the new me was learning to trust. The old me felt unworthy, but the new me was reclaiming her worth, piece by piece, breath by breath. And if I wanted to step into that future, my words had to reflect it. My self-talk had to rise. My inner dialogue had to evolve. You see, the future version of you, the one you dream of becoming, already knows your strength, already knows your capacity, already knows your purpose, already knows where you're meant to go. That version is waiting for you to catch up, waiting for you to stop speaking from your pain and start speaking from your potential, waiting for you to stop repeating your history and start rehearsing your destiny. When you talk to yourself like the person you're becoming, everything shifts. Your posture changes, you stand taller without even noticing, your decisions change, you choose based on faith, not fear, your habits change, you build consistency instead of chaos, your relationships change, you start choosing people who align with your worth, your boundaries change, you stop apologizing for protecting your peace, your dreams change, you stop settling for what's safe and start moving toward what's meant for you. Talking to yourself like your future self is not pretending, it's preparing, it's aligning, it's stepping into the truth before the world sees it. Think about it. If you want to be confident, speak like someone who trusts her own voice. If you want to be peaceful, speak like someone who doesn't need external validation. If you want to be successful, speak like someone who deserves abundance. If you want to be healed, speak like someone who no longer identifies with what broke her. If you want to be whole, speak like someone who knows she is already enough. The words you use become the atmosphere you live in. And if you keep breathing the air of your past, you'll never taste the freedom of your future. So start today. Talk to yourself like someone destined for greatness. Talk to yourself like someone God is guiding. Talk to yourself like someone who has survived storms with grace. Talk to yourself like someone worthy of love, of opportunities, of blessings, of joy. Talk to yourself like someone who is growing, even if the growth is slow, even if the progress is quiet, even if the world hasn't noticed yet, because growth doesn't need an audience. It needs commitment. And every time you speak to yourself like the person you're becoming, you take one step closer to living that truth. One step closer to becoming that version. One step closer to stepping fully, unapologetically into the life that's waiting for you. Your past may have shaped you, but your words will define you. Choose them wisely. Choose them boldly. Choose them with faith. Before you step back into your life, pause. Take one breath. Feel your heart beating inside your chest. It's still fighting for you. It's still choosing you. It's still believing in the future you cannot see yet. And remember this truth. Let it settle deep in your spirit. You were not created to live small. You were created to rise. You were created to grow. You were created to walk with purpose, with faith, with fire in your bones. Your past cannot hold you. Your fear cannot stop you. Your doubt cannot define you. Because you are guided by something greater, something wiser, something eternal. Every step you take with faith becomes a doorway. Every word you speak with truth becomes a foundation. Every moment you choose courage becomes a seed for a future you will one day thank yourself for. So go forward now, not with perfection, but with intention. Go forward with a softer voice inside you, a steadier heart, a clearer spirit. Go forward knowing you are strengthened, held and supported in ways you may not fully see, but will absolutely feel, and hold this one promise close. When you speak life into yourself, heaven responds. When you choose growth, doors open. When you walk with faith, you are never walking alone. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need validation to begin. You don't need certainty to take the next step. You just need willingness. You just need truth. You just need faith. So step into your life with courage. Speak to yourself with love. Move with trust. And watch how your world transforms. Because the moment you align your voice with your purpose, your life will rise to meet you